One of the most commonly asked questions I get is, how do I find my purpose? And it's one of those big questions. It's one of those questions that, in fact, it's too big. I think what most of us do is we start in the wrong place and we kind of go like, we want our life to be significant. The problem with that is we kind of look at it and we think, well, I need to impact on the world. I need to write a song that, is remembered forever, or I need to build a business that changes the world, or I need to do something that's magnificent. And the problem with that is it's beyond the capacity for most of us to do that. Maybe we could work our way up to it and we shouldn't let go of that. But really, we're starting in the wrong place. You could work your way up to that. When we start to look at this gigantic purpose that I've got to have that's going to shift the world on its axis, really what we're doing here is it's an attempt to make ourselves significant. It's kind of like, if I'm going to live this life, I have to have this magnificent impact on the world, otherwise it's not worth it. It's actually an ego problem. It's really kind of saying, okay, so I want what I do in the world to make me great, rather than recognize that we could be great and we could do small things that send ripples out there that actually do end up changing the world. So there's that kind of reminder. I'd remind you that Meditations on Picking a Leaf for a Forest, where whoever wrote it said, in my youth I yearned to change the world. Little did I know that I didn't have much chance of that. And now late in my life I realised that had I just looked at changing myself, then I might have had an impact on my family, and that might have had an impact on the people around me, and that, dare I dream it, could have had an impact on my community, and that as a result could have had an impact on my country, and that could have had an impact on the world. And of course now it's too late. So what I'm going to suggest to you is that what we need to do when it comes to purpose is to think about, what do I love to do? What would I do if I wasn't going to get paid for it and I had to leave the house in the morning and not come back for the rest of the day, and I didn't need the money? So look at that and ask yourself, what would I do that would uplift my spirit, that I would joyfully give the results of it away, because I'm not doing it to get the thing that's the result. I'm doing it to feel who I am as I do it. You see, our purpose is to live fully. And so what most of us don't realise is that part of our purpose is to actually turn up in the moment and be present. And I've recently got lessons from that, or reminders, I should say, from my 2.5-year-old granddaughter, who, when I get down on the floor and play with her, says, "Granddad, help me play puzzles," and we play puzzles. And, it's a staggering concept to see how quickly time can pass. In fact, I was just there the other day and I got up off the floor and I was feeling a bit stiff. And I said to my wife, Mary, I said, "I don't believe how stiff I am, how hard it is getting on the floor. I must be getting old." She said, "Do you realise you were down there playing with her for an hour and a half?" I said, "I had no idea." And the reason I had no idea was that my purpose at that point was to turn up in that child's life and make a difference by being present. I didn't have to give her any wisdom. She's not ready for it. I didn't have to give her any great lessons in life. She's not ready for that yet. She just wanted me to be with her. And in that aspect, my purpose was being fully and totally met. So if you ask yourself, really, is it my purpose to change the world, or is it my purpose to change the relationships I'm involved in, to make a difference in each moment? What you're going to find is it's actually important for you to turn up and be present in each moment, and that's your purpose, is to live fully. So how do we do that? Well, that's a question of mindfulness. It's a question of bringing your mind to, what am I doing and how much of myself am I bringing to it? Because when you bring yourself totally and fully to something, you've actually met your purpose. You are fully blossomed. You're fully alive. Now, I'm going to blame the 2.5-year-old grandchild, but the reality is I could do that anytime. At any moment, I could turn towards my wife or my children and I could say, "Hey, look at me for a second. I am so glad you're in my life. I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that you've made a difference in my life." And as we do that, we become alive and our purpose is totally met. How good a parent I am? Well, that's open for debate. I'm probably going to form the worst opinion of everyone. My children have probably got a higher opinion of my fathering skills than I do, because I'm going to be judgmental about it. But if I turned up and I was there, and I let them know that they are a fully sanctioned, complete, totally unique, magnificent human being, maybe I've met my purpose. And maybe our purpose on life, or in life, is to help others come to that realisation, simply by being present. So think about, where could you be more present? What could you do about that? What sort of activities could you get involved in where it would naturally turn out that's what you were doing? one of the areas where that shows up is when we get into service. And if you decide what you're going to do while you're figuring out what your purpose is, I'm going to do Meals on Wheels, or I'm going to contribute to something in my community, the chances are, whilst you're doing Meals on Wheels, that when you're handing over the meal to someone who can't get out of their own house, that you're going to be fully present, you're going to actually meet someone, and that act of kindness from you, not only is it appreciated by them, but it reveals a real you to them. So think about service, those kind of things, because that's what's going to help you find your purpose. Now, if some of what I've said resonates with you, then I'm running a training on this in a couple of days. If you'd like to be in that training, go for about 90 minutes, be pretty in-depth, then I've popped the link to that in the comments below. All you've got to do is register, and I'll see you at the training.